Hello, my name is Madison Walcott, and my Revelation presentation focuses on the effects of customer service on mental health. Retail, food service, and customer service workers are notoriously known for being on the front lines of poor treatment. In my Revelation presentation, I will explore the reasons why and how these individuals tend to be subject to harsh maltreatment over relatively minuscule problems and the overall impact this has on society. One can take a customer is always right stance on this subject and shift blame to retail workers. Perhaps in some cases, there are legitimate problems at hand and which are not handled properly, which could result in some rudeness. The purpose of this presentation is not to discuss the efficacy of customer service procedures, but rather to focus on the overall negative attitude that society has on customer service employees. Although I personally believe in the golden rule of treating others as you would want to be treated, much of the general public makes an exception when interacting with customer service workers. Constant instances of humiliation and disrespect at one's workplace has been proven to pose health problems. Is it valid that society's dismissal of this treatment could be more harmful than what we care to admit? Fellow retail employees can agree that at one point or another, there has been an instance of excessive disrespect that wasn't proportionate to the issue at hand. Even non-retail workers have probably experienced an instance where they observed a customer abusing another person. What causes people to act this way? When studying attributions in Chapter 4 of our textbook, personal attributions are discussed. I'll provide an instance where a personal attribution may be applied to a retail setting. Suppose that you enter a retail establishment to purchase something. Your cashier greets you in a rather nervous way, scans your items cautiously, and asks for your payment. When trying to process your credit card, the machine does nothing. If you make a personal attribution to the card reader error, you will assume that the employee must be new and is making a mistake, thus making the card reader unresponsive. However, if you make a situational attribution, you will assume that the chip in your card is malfunctioning or the machine is having technical difficulties. Depending on what kind of attribution is made determines the treatment that the employee is subject to. Personal attributions clearly shift blame to the person, thus opening the possibility of a customer being rude to the employee for the inconvenience. If situational attributions are made more often, the accusatory nature of customer-employee conflict would decrease tremendously, probably increasing the pleasantness for the experience of both parties. However, not all instances of rude customers are due to unforeseen mistakes. What would cause this? I have a theory of customer superiority. Employees have no choice who they serve and perhaps how they serve. Most institutions train their employees to be agreeable and accommodating to all customers, whether they're pleasant or not. The superiority could stem from social status or even financial status. There typically aren't many jobs that can rival retail and food service staff as being of low status. After all, these jobs are typically minimum wage jobs that are predominantly staffed by teens in high school. So, it's understandable that people who aren't in this sort of service put themselves on a pedestal and feel that it's acceptable to be awful. Or, alternatively, even if someone doesn't perceive employees as being beneath them, they engage in this treatment because the employees can't answer back. The employee's job depends on agreeableness, and their workplace insists on it. There exists a hypocrisy of corporate companies stressing the importance of having open-door policies and employee hotlines to prevent distress, while encouraging them to behave in ways that are damaging to self-esteem. Many times, members of management are made to accept fault and make special exceptions to appease an angry customer, even when fault can clearly be placed on the customer. Starbucks will give free drinks, McDonald's will give you a voucher for a free menu item, and Walmart will give you a store gift card for the inconvenience. By this logic, rude and otherwise unacceptable behavior in any other setting is rewarded. Ultimately, I think this has a damaging effect. This backwards way of providing advantages to people being rude encourages bystanders to engage in this way, snowballing the problem. Retail establishments are normalizing behavior that society rejects, which changes the very nature of our society. Let's not forget that major conglomerates are a relatively recent development. Years ago, it was more common to see mom-and-pop stores often run by the owner. The owner had jurisdiction over who they shall and shall not serve. The shift in local business to large corporate companies in our local towns is bound to impact society. Corporations that Americans regularly attend, like Walmart, BP Gas, and McDonald's, have lower prices and a larger selection of products than that of a family-run business would have. And we live in a society that is fueled by convenience and consumerism. Because of the massiveness of these corporations, many employees are needed to ensure that the service for customers is satisfactory. Unfortunately, this fact causes the employees to lose their sense of individualism when interacting with thousands of customers daily. Secondarily, the customers do not build a rapport with regular cashiers because of the turnover in these corporations. You can imagine the impact of these major conglomerates on the overall view of retail workers in society. Many environmentally conscious individuals are leaning towards small business for the reduced environmental footprint, but this is not necessarily concerned with social psychology. I just included it on the slide for information's sake. Circling back to the retail employees themselves, abusive treatment to an individual, let alone a stranger, is frowned upon in society for a reason. When you clock in for hours a day for the span of years and are subject to verbal abuse daily, it is bound to wear a person down. I did some casual researching and I found a longitudinal study from 1997 to 2015 that compared self-reported mental health scores of 200,000 retail workers against 1 million non-retail workers. The results claim that retail workers reported significantly higher mental distress than any other profession. Furthermore, the study found that distress increased for those in retail while other professions stayed relatively stable over the course of the study. In a society that puts profit above the well-being of employees, you'd think that companies would stress the importance of mental stability since it directly impacts profitability. So, what can we do to help this issue? Firstly, if you are ever in a situation where the service is subpar, consider making a situational attribution rather than a personal attribution. Perhaps the reason why your food is taking longer than normal to come out is because the restaurant is understaffed and you're eating at rush hour. Try to refrain from telling your server that they're receiving no tip for the wait that he or she truly has no control over. Although you cannot personally control what institutions expect from employees, you as a part of society gives you an advantage. If you see an instance of a customer being unreasonable and offensive to an employee, break the cycle of poor behavior being rewarded. Don't see this flaw in the customer service system as an opportunity for personal gain at the expense of others. Perhaps your actions can snowball into a positive customer experience for the employee, improving their mental health. These are my references if anyone wants additional exploration. I would enjoy if anyone who watches this presentation has any additional comments about the effects of customer service on mental health, whether it be from personal experience or just generally. Leave a comment under my presentation and we can discuss some things. Thank you for watching.